caps that they're building would give birth to a new queen?
Yes.
Oh.
Yep, that's how they raise their new queen.
And how are the worker bees born to the queen too?
Well, so every bee in the hive for the first 3 days when it's an egg is fed royal jelly. Here we've got some more queen cups. So any bee in the hive could be a queen for the first 3 days. So if the bees need a new queen, they can use any egg during the first 3 days to raise a new queen from it. And they just continue to feed it royal jelly. If they want it to be a worker bee or a drone, they feed it bee bread. So drones are fed a lot of bee bread. They're big because they eat more food. So it's kind of an interesting way to look at it as far as like hive growth. It's like, what do they need more of? Is there a lot of bees that might be swarming in the area, so they want to raise drones? The queen might just lay eggs in bigger drone cells. So then the bees know, okay, we need drones, so they'll feed them a bunch of bee bread and help them grow. So the queen's kind of the one who decides where she wants stuff by putting it in the cells that she wants to lay it in, but the bees are the ones that decide what they need as well because they build the combs for her to lay in. So it's like this really interesting relationship between them that they communicate in a way they just know, we need more of this now. And I don't think there's any human who could really explain that whole process of communication, but it's pretty fascinating.
And what's a drone?
A drone are the boys. And I tend not to get a lot of them when I make splits. I actually try not to get a lot of them. So, there's one. He got in. So the drones are the boys. And they're kind of fat and fuzzy. They cannot actually sting. They don't have what it takes to harvest honey or pollinate anything. What's the purpose? The purpose is to mate with the queen. Remember in the video how I said there was a drone cloud? And the males, they have to fly. They have to actually, so drones hang out in congregation pods like 400 feet up in the air. They hang out. They leave the hive early in the morning. They hang out up in the sky. They're like, please let a queen fly by. And as soon as one does, they all charge after her and see who can catch up with her. And the one that wins dies, but it gets to be the one to fertilize the eggs for all the bees that are going to be coming from this queen from their fort. It's a pretty special job. And their big eyes let us know their true purpose in life. They're sighting the queen, but they live. So it's pretty exciting. I know a lot of people at my workshops like to think of humans and bees and put them together, but they're very different. So here I am securing the queen back where she was originally. So I'm putting this bar here up against this other one, put them in place. So I'm holding this queen in place. And now I've got to get this bar moved in here and get these bees out of the way. So it's a little wiggle. When we come to take the queen and release her, we know we can get in right here because it's going to be a straight comb or no comb, right? And then I know that the queen is right there. So when I go to lift this up, it's going to be real easy to get her out. Okay? And then I'm going to put all these combs together because now that it's a little hive, we want them to know to stay together. So these brood combs is what we call them. We want them as close together as possible. Yet here at the end, we also want them to start building new combs. So this is going to help draw out nice new wax that the queen will start laying on as soon as we release her in 2 days. So we put an empty bar in between these drawn out combs. Okay. Put the bars together so that no bees get stuck. You do a little wiggle and you just push them down. It's like guiding them where you want them to go. Kind of like if a bee's bottom is sticking out of the cell and you want them to move, you can just kind of tickle them. Like it's just kind of reminding them, like, I need you to move, or guidance, but never trying to like force them. That's when they don't tend to respond so well. So I've got just a few bees left in here, and I know that they're going to smell their queen and go to her. So while we're finishing up over here, we're going to just close this while we do this one and let these bees make their way into the hive. And we have a little bit of a gap, so that's what these spacer strips are for. We're just going to take the spacer strip that fits here and put it right up against the follower board.
What would happen if you didn't have a follower board in there at all?
Nothing, except for sometimes as they're growing and they have all this space, that's when they start to curve. So this helps us keep them straight. So now when I come and I drop this follower board back another like 3 or 4 bars, I'm going to add empty bars in between the already drawn out straight combs. So as I keep expanding them that way, I'm giving them no choice but to make straight combs. You all saw in the honey harvesting part, all that crooked honey that went everywhere. That is not fun. I might have made it look easy there. It's not a fun thing. Most people have the most trouble with their bees trying to harvest that kind of honey. I don't recommend getting yourself into that situation. Okay, so moving on to hive number 2. Any questions before we start hive number 2?
Why are the boxes shaped like a bee?
It's a trapezoidal shape. Bees naturally, in nature, they want to hang like a necklace. So even like those long combs you saw on that wall, they all kind of came down like this. They had that shape to them where they kind of curve off. So when bees hang together, they string together, and they form like that necklace shape. So this is just kind of a natural way for them to want to build. And when you're working with it, like the gravitational pull is a lot easier with this shape. I tried doing top bars and Langstroth hives where they're long rectangles and they break and they get real heavy. So this is a really nice supportive shape. So it looks like we're going to get the opportunity as these bees grow and we do more workshops here to see what happens with fire ants, because just since this hive has been here, we've collected them. So all of you who are asking about fire ants, I'm definitely going to be doing some experimentation in this yard about how we can keep them down now that we know that they're already here. So if any of you are still remaining curious about this, follow up with me in a few months and I'll tell you how our results go. Okay? Look at what they built overnight. A little bit bigger than the other one. So when bees start putting pollen in cells and taking up combs with substantially bee bread, that's their way of saying that this comb is no longer needed. So that's kind of like, you know, when honey gets capped over or combs get filled in with pollen, bees are telling you to get them out of the hive. So if you ever wonder, how do I know if the hive is ready to harvest? That's your indicating factor.
And do they fill them with either pollen or honey, or is it a mixture?
It's sometimes both or one or the other. Like they might have both on the same frame. And they even coat the pollen with honey to break. It's an enzymatic change that happens there because pollen on its own is actually not digestible. Bees have to mix pollen with nectar to ferment the pollen to make it a digestible food. That's what bee breath is. Here we go. Lots of uncapped brood. So all this stuff up here, wax covering, that's honey. That's what we're talking about. That's capped honey. If you have full combs with just that, it's ready. When it's like this, that's food for the bees. And here we have nectar, but this is mostly eggs and baby bees. All this is uncapped brood. And then this down here is capped brood. All of this is bee food because if it's on a brood comb, it's their food, it's their pantry.
So it's not ready. There's no honey in there.
No.
If we harvest their food, that encourages them to keep on producing the honey.
Depending, like if you were to harvest this, you're actually killing their babies. This is not harvestable. This is like the nursery and the pantry in one, right? So they need this. But if it's a full honeycomb, yeah, harvest it because that gives them room to it. So like I said, one of my biggest things I notice for me at workshops is when I'm putting combs in and I'm talking at the same time, it's easy for me to get mixed up. That's why I recommend doing the dot, especially if you're new to beekeeping and you know you're going to have your buddy come over and beekeep with you. Put a line down one side of your hive, because otherwise you get it talking and oh wait, where did that go? So, good to know. Yeah, that was to be in the exact same order. It's just like doing a puzzle. Puzzle pieces have to go together. So here we got more of the capped honey up here. Got some pollen under here. A little bit of pollen. This is worker brood. And up close here, this is the uncapped larva.
Are you putting spacers in between these?
I'm going to, yep. That's why I'm kind of doing it loosely right now so that I can put it all together in a moment. Here's our last of the brood combs. They're really hanging on all this brood down here. This hive also made a queen cup overnight, but they were a little bit more, only made one so far that I've seen. So they weren't just going all out for it. They're like, I'm not sure, do I need to do this? So this is kind of cool. They built a lot of new wax overnight. Look at all that behind me. And then fall on the edge of the queen. Here it is. So, I'm going to go like this for a moment as I shake them in. How do they make wax and propolis? Well, wax comes from glands under their body, which I'll show you in just a moment. I always check the queens whenever I've caged them before I put them in, just make sure that they're looking happy. These bees look like they're a little bit stressed out, so their communication isn't the pleasantness we were seeing with the queen over there. This looks like a little bit more like concerned energy. So it could be that they got hot in transport, and so their communication is more frantic. Pretty cute, eh? What they can do in an evening. And you can pass this around if you want to look at it. Well, those are from my bars, and my bars are all well used, as you can tell. So when they got brand new bars to use instead, we'll keep it that way. By the time they become mama hives and I'm selling combs from them, they're well used. So now I'm going to start putting in empty combs. And because the queen is actually doesn't fit in with these combs, I'm going to put her at the end this time. Instead of over here like we did in this one, we're going to do it over here. Main reason being that I don't want to have a bunch of empty combs on this side. And her cage goes across several bars. So you can rubber band her on, but since I know I'm coming back in 2 days, I'd rather do it this way. It's more convenient and not have to deal with the rubber bands. I have gone through lots of rubber bands doing this, and it's interesting. It actually becomes kind of a distraction for the bees because they chew on the rubber, and then they break it up, and sometimes it snaps in the hive, or they try to like remove it. And it's one of the cutest things to see this little bee pulling this giant rubber band out the hive entrance. But you know, if they don't need to do that, like why have them do it?
So how come you're not going to release her today just to get her used to this?
She needs to get used to the box. Sometimes I'll put queen excluders over the entrance and release the queens the day of. But in this case, like I just like to do a follow-up, make sure everything's good, and then release her and put the queen excluder on then. And when I see stuff like this, I kind of get curious, like maybe because she's in the cage, they're a little freaked out about it. So I'm just like waiting to see if this behavior settles down. Do you see a difference? Like over here, they didn't look as frantic. The way that they're on this queen is kind of frantic. It's like it's curious to me. It makes me wonder if like an extra bee got in the hive that didn't belong. You know, like change of energy. So it's good. It's good to cage the queen sometimes just to monitor the development of the hive. If she was to get hurt right now, and we had a queen excluder on, and then we just took the queen cups, it could cause a lot of curiosity to happen there.
Down the throat.
She's like, I'm gonna land on your lip while you're talking.
Oh, no. That was such one.
So again, with lifting the bars, I really want everybody to really see this part because this is one of the hardest parts, is putting it back together. So I'm lifting the bottom of one top bar up to the top of the other. And I'm doing a little wiggle to tell the bees below to move. This way it fits together safely.